right, all right. Here we go, here we go. All right, man. TNP in the motherfucking building, boys. Your boy Big Cal. What's up with it? Hit that like button. We coming in here, tapping in here this morning, man. Talking about the situation that happened out here. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. Okay, just don't look crazy. Give me a second, gotta get this thing pulled together, man. We talking about in the car star, Ole Miss football freshman. We got to get to it. Give me a second so I can get this thing popping, man. It's a little bit harder than it seems. We're gonna get it together though. There we go. Let's get to it.
Millions.
Mm. All right, man. It's some wild shit, man. We've been talking about this on TNP for too long. Too long now. We went back and forth, having conversations, keeping it real with the masses on how black folks in America are our biggest detriments, man. Saying talk about, man, it's crazy how the situations always end up with the talented, the most talented person seems to always be the person that's in trouble, that seems to get incarcerated, that seems to get killed, seems to be a victim of gun violence. It's almost as if it's some type of jealousy factor, that's been interjected into these scenarios, man. But like I said, I don't know this brother. We don't know this brother. I don't know him. You know what I'm saying? Don't know his character. I can't stand here as a man and validate what type of guy he was. We all know, football players. I was one myself in college, man. Sometimes we can be a rambunctious bunch. Just being honest. Just being honest, man. It's not. I don't think that's any type of surprise to folks. You see folks out here from Henry Ruggs, and all these, shoot, you can name them. You can sit here and name all the situations, bar fights, domestic violence, fighting. They're just a rambunctious bunch. That's kind of the nature of the game. You kind of got to be a little bit twisted to play, especially defense. This is a defensive end guy. The guy 6'4", 230, 240, 250, somewhere in there, man. Big old guy, man. So he's a threat. Most folks gonna fear folks like that. Just being honest, man. Especially in our community, we're not going to be able to be diplomatic, talk things out. Use our proper discernment. Have empathy and sympathy for the next man. That's just not something that we really are equipped with in our community. So unfortunately, a lot of these people raised by the single mothers, were not ever exposed to a proper male tutelage, things like of that nature. So yeah, man, it's a wild and disheartening situation to see a young black brother with all this future ahead of him, 18 years old, to have his life snuffed out over whatever conflict was going on in this party. But I will say, like, he passed away in the suburb of Memphis. So if anybody doesn't know, as far as maps and things like that, and uh, geography, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee and Mississippi are like very, very close. They touch, actually, they're neighboring states. So I don't know how he ended up. He's from Mississippi, or he went to school in Louisiana. Yeah, matter of fact, is Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi. I think he went to his school in Louisiana, I believe, in the car. Because that's in Louisiana. Let me make sure. That's the beauty. Yep, it's in Louisiana. So I really don't know what he was doing in Mississippi. Just being honest, I don't know what the young man was doing in not Mississippi but Tennessee. So, but man, like I said, wrong place, wrong time, and just the wrong culture and climate to be out here living as a man that think you're gonna intimidate or flash or be, anything, anything that's gonna make a man insecure in this world. You got to watch, these young men today. You got to watch your back. You got to watch your back, man, because it's not going to be met with love. They're not going to have any empathy for you. They're not going to feel sorry for you. They're going to take your life, and that's just facts. Like these folks, these young men today, very emotional, very mama raised, lack of impulse control, just lost, man. So like I said, man, this is a sad situation. Young man, 18 years old, lost his life at a little house party. 4 of the young men were shot. I mean, it's like, what is I just don't know our fascination with gun violence in the black community. I can't understand it. I really can't. It's always pool parties. I know some folks back where I'm from that lost their lives in pool parties. Pool parties with a whole bunch of nigga functions, shit like that, with a whole bunch of black folks packed into small places, areas, man. For one, there's going to be guns. There's going to be weapons in these parties. It's going to be people that have nothing to lose in these parties. It's going to be people who their only form of masculinity in their eyes, the only form of manhood in their eyes is toting guns and intimidating other young black men. They don't have anything else to want for themselves. The grades are shitty. The mind, the mental, they have no future. These are young men that, their future is trapping or working at McDonald's. They didn't work hard in class. They didn't work hard in school. They didn't focus on education or anything that would value them down the road. These are 18-year-old demons, as they call themselves, man. A lot of folks, man, a lot of black folks in the black community, man, they love to compare themselves to demons, devils, demon time, of this nature. So it's just, to me personally, with a man with sons, I'm just going to have the proper discernment for mine. I'm just going to teach them more early than often that, people that look like you do not always have your best interest at heart. That's going to be the first thing I want to elocute and get across to my sons, man. You're not missing out on anything going to these parties. If there's a little lady that's there that you want to meet, she'll meet you anywhere else in a safe environment. You don't got to go expose yourself and be around idiots, monkeys, to be honest with you, man. That's how I look at a lot of these demons, demonic entities, and dumbass monkeys. You don't got to dance around in the zoo to find your queen. You know what I'm saying? And personally, I wouldn't want to be involved with a woman that's going to all these parties and shit like that anyway, man. That's top behavior anyway. I wouldn't want to, anybody that's going to these parties where it's going to be alcohol, drugs, ratchet shit, guns. I wouldn't want to hang around in that type of place no way with no type of women anyway. Like, them type of fun girls, you can find them on a little single mission and get them knocked out the way. You know what I'm saying? I'm teaching my sons, do not hang in crowds. Do not participate in things where your safety could be at risk, and do not intimidate folks. Because I know just like this guy, my son's going to have the same Division I side just like their father has. No way. Mom's 6'1", 250 plus pounds. This kid was, similar in stature, 6'3", 6'4", 240. It's like that's an intimidation factor that most people aren't going to want to deal with. They're not going to want to get their ass beat by you. They're not going to want to even try and see. They're not even going to want to try it. Honestly, they're not even going to even initiate any type of fisticuffs. But they're going to be very, very quick to bring that violence and that gun violence to your front door. They're going to be very, very quick to bring gun violence to your step, just off of intimidation, and size. So that's just facts. This guy's a big old kid right here, man. Lost, gone. Division I defensive end. Anybody knows football, that to play Division I defensive end, you got to be able to anchor. You got to be a solid person, man. You got to be able to drop your ass, anchor down against tackles against the run. You got to be able to slap hands down, rush the passer in the pass. These are type guys that are very, very aggressive, very, very physical at the point of attack. These are guys that are not to be played with. Like me, I played linebacker DNs. These are guys that are very aggressive and stout at the point of attack, man. Like if they got their hands on some of these guys out here that aren't built like this, a normal size individual, 6'1", not even 6'1", that's big, but 6 feet, maybe 170, somebody like that, 180, which is a normal size human being. Man, he is going to tear them apart. He's going to throw that person on every wall in that house. So just being honest, most people aren't they're intimidated by this. Most young black men don't want to be in fights. Most young black men, in my opinion, haven't been in much fights. Probably the most fights they have is fighting their sisters or some bullshit or their mama whooping their ass. They haven't had a lot of confrontation with men. They're not used to conflict. These are guys that were scared to ran to the back of the line and tackling drills. These are guys that the only power they feel like they have is when they have a gun in their hands. These are just losers. Like I would say, black community, we're really losing in the grand scheme of things. If you talk about just culturally, man, we're losing a grip on our young men. They have no standard to hold themselves to. Nothing to other than a deplorable standard, a degenerate standard, a low life standard, a violent standard, a standard that's rooted in really femininity. If you want to be 100% honest, volatility and femininity is what a lot of these men are indoctrinated into, man. They're feminine. Their energy is feminine. They're raised by women. They're all like that. Like I said, the only way in which they can feel masculine is to intimidate folks with guns and weapons. Other than that, they're girls. They get behind bars. What are they going to do then? When a white man get you, take all your firearms, strip you down, put you in there with the other gorillas, because you're not a gorilla. Most of you niggas out here with guns, you're not gorillas. So once you get in there with niggas that's really about it, then you're going to really come to that realization that maybe on the outside, I should have dictated myself a little bit better. I maybe should have, tapered back some of my female emotions and impulsivity. And I should have, listened to some of these guys that's trying to give me some type of insight, man. But me personally, like I said, I'm teaching my kids to stay the fuck away from black folks when they get of age. To hell with hanging with folks, to hell with trying to be down. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy, his future is lost, unfortunately. Division I scholarships, NIL deals, opportunities, man. These stuff like this does not come around very often. This is something that God gave you a blessing, a blessing and an ability. And it's your job to use it to the best of your abilities. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody else is going to cherish that but you. Unfortunately, your family might, but none of these outside people are going to cherish the fact that you have the ability to change your family's legacy and existence. You know what I'm saying? He's an incoming freshman. He just did spring ball. This guy hasn't even touched the field really. I mean, he did with spring ball, but he hasn't got any real game experience. Like this is a baby. This is a baby, just graduated. He's class of 2025. He just graduated in May, whenever folks got out of college. Well, he graduated early because he was in spring ball. So he had enough intelligence and enough work ethic in the classroom to be able to graduate early and be involved in spring ball over there with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. So it's like I said, just the fact that he had to go through all these obstacles just to get to be a talented individual, a standout individual, and just to have his life snuffed out by, I'm sure someone who when you see, they're not going to have no future. They're probably going to already have a juvenile record. They're probably going to already be a miscreant, a person that was already troublemaker. Like, I don't know what this man could have did to deserve to be shot. I mean, there's no reason, in my opinion. He embarrassed you, whatever the hell. I mean, we all know how that goes. We've seen enough of this shit with these black men, with Carmelo Anthony wanting to use weapons to justify beat downs or not being embarrassed. So a lot of these black boys, they're so feminine and so emotional and so, like I said, sensitive that they can't take being a loser or being not even like just losing a situation, whether it's a conversation, a confrontation, a discussion. They can't take a discourse without it trying to turn violent. So, or turn to violence. So, it's really, like I said, it's a disconnect culturally, man. And we got to acknowledge that. And we got to try our best to try to work with these young men out here and figure out what we're going to do to, pull back this climate that we're in where, like I said, man, it even looks like a nice neighborhood where they're having this pool party. And you got to think like that. They got pools. So it's a nice little suburb outside of Memphis. And like I said, the hood comes to the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? Like that hood mentality travel to the suburbs with them. So, it's very disheartening to see, to say the least. I don't know, like I said, what this young man was doing at this party. And I mean, by all means, you have the right to go out and enjoy yourself as a young man, but you got to know the consequences of going out here and involving yourself with these type of demonic entities. These type of demonic entities do not have any empathy for you. They do not care that you have a future. They do not care that you have any type of athletic ability that is going to change your circumstances. If anything, that makes them more violent and more prone to violence towards you, that they know you have a future, that they know you put the work in and set yourself apart from them, from the normal and the masses of people, of young adults, that you've done the work, you've been blessed genetically, intellectually, however you want to place it, to where you have separated yourself from your peers. You know what I'm saying? From your cohorts. So it's really crazy, man. And like when you understand the psyche of it, you know that it's a lot of hate, crab in a bucket mentality behind this type of shit. A lot of people that don't want to see you succeed, they're saying you have everything. You have the D1 scholarship. You probably got the hose because you got the D1 scholarship. You probably have NIL deals, so you probably driving a nice vehicle, or you know what I'm saying, you're flossing, you're stunning, you got nice clothes on. You probably about to get you a nice vehicle if you don't have one. Probably even provided by Ole Miss. A lot of these schools nowadays, they have collectives and things like that, NIL, where they're giving you vehicles. Man, you think people don't see this. You think people still see you as the whatever kid from Mississippi or Louisiana that's, maybe come from poverty, maybe come from the same situation, single parent household. You think that they still see you as this YN or this down to earth person, but you're separating yourself from the crowds. So if you got to hang around like minded and people with things to lose. So you're putting yourself in these predicaments. It's not surprising to me that things like this happen. Anytime there's a large mass of young Black people going to parties, house parties, clubs, there's going to be violence and chaos that erupts. It's all a matter of when it happens. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because the potential is gonna always be realized at these parties. I don't care. I mean, if you're lucky, it'll just be a case of fisticuffs and everybody goes home healthy and alive. If you're unlucky, in the majority of the time, it's gonna be some type of gunshot, some type of gun violence. And hopefully, you pray nobody dies. But like I said, this situation, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And that's one of the biggest things I'm gonna tell my sons when they get of age, and my daughters, because they already know they all on lockdown, they ain't going down, is that it's not going down. Like me, type person, I'm not having I wouldn't even allow this type of party at my house. Like, I don't know what type of parents they had or what type of guardians these people had at these houses. And like I said, from the looks of it, it looked like a nice neighborhood. But me personally, it's not going down. It's not going down at all. Like my kids, I'm not allowing anybody. I wouldn't allow a whole bunch of people to come to my house and party. It's not going. I wouldn't even want a whole bunch of people to know where I stay. That's the type of life I'm gonna live with my kids. I don't want my kids to be too overly involved in the politics or just the goings on of the worldliness of their generation. I don't want them involved in that, because it's only going to get worse, in my opinion. Because it's only going to get worse. There's no initiatives. There's nothing going on to change the direction that a lot of Black youth is going in. There's nothing that's trying to quell some of these issues intellectually, mentally, psychologically that's going on with a lot of our Black youth. And it's always a Black youth. There's always Black men killing Black men in America. Like, that is one of the biggest tragedies, in my opinion, that's going on in the last 50 years, is the influx of gun violence, self-inflicted gun violence within the Black community. To me, it's one of the most idiotic, stupid things that we keep tripping over. It's one of the most. It's chaotic. It's destructive. It's mass genocide. What's going on in the Black community across America. This is like I said, this is an epidemic that we're dealing with as a Black community, of Black men inflicting self-inflicted gun violence on ourselves, period. And this hits the news because this young man had a solid future ahead of him, did what he had to do in the classroom, had enrolled early in spring ball, just out here having fun, out here enjoying his last, little bit of freedom before he goes to fall camp. They're about to bust his ass, try to bust your heart, as my coach used to say. They're going to push him to the limit. He already been through spring ball, so he kind of knows what to expect. This is a kid with a bright future ahead of him, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's, like I said, it's disheartening to see. I ain't gonna lie, man. But that's life. In life, we don't really get what we want a lot of times. It's a sad situation. Sad situation, man. But RIP to this young man. And like I said, I hope these shooters are brought to justice. This is just ignorant killing, as we continue to do to ourselves. I'm going to make sure that I use my platforms to give this the proper notification and the proper platform and pub that it needs, that people are aware of these situations that occur in the Black community constantly. You know what I'm saying? It's constantly a chaotic situation that goes down in the Black community and for our youth. That's the leading cause of death in Black youth is gun violence. Gun violence. So it's just a wild situation, man. Wild situation, man. But let's be honest. Is there really ever a proper motive for executing and committing homicide against a young man? I mean, if he had a gun and he was about to do it, inflict gun violence onto you, then okay, because like I said, a lot of these folks, they could potentially, us former football players and football players, just from my experience, we're not innocent. There's nothing innocent about us. We're big, violent, physical. A lot of us, we come from these impoverished backgrounds. A lot of folks that are unstable. Me personally, I'm thankful I came from a 2-parent household. I had, and I was going through stuff there, but I still was able to have that solid beginning and foundation in education to help me maneuver through being a young Black man in America. But like I said, a lot of these folks, you never know. You never know. So I'm not, until the facts come out, I'm not going to really go here or go there. But for all the looks of it, I mean, it seems like he was an unarmed person that just got gunned down. Honestly, like, I'm sure someone would have came out if it was self-defense at this point. So it seems like a situation where it was just a disturbance, some type of conflict, just like any normal day in the Black community with young Black men, where a disagreement turns violent. A simple disagreement turns violent, and that's just the normal Tuesday in the Black community. We don't have any conflict resolution skills. We don't know how to de-escalate situations properly without feeling like we've been punked. Without feeling like we've been dissed and that person got an upper advantage on us and disrespected us. We can't walk away from that because our feelings are emotional like females. We take everything to heart. These young Black men are so sensitive, so mama ran and matriarchy ran. It's no surprise that a young Black male was killed. Me personally, I think it's hate. That's because I've known situations like this happen before where guys that were college football players, even from my hometown, where they were snuffed out in their prime by, in my opinion, jealous people that didn't have from their hometowns, or jealous people from these little ass cities that don't have nothing going on, and you think they don't know you. That's the crazy part. That's the crazy part with all this social media and all the rumor mills and people gossiping, and you think like you don't know me. I'm be here and I'm gonna protect myself and I'm gonna demand respect from these guys and you're not gonna disrespect me. But these guys they know you. Females talk, these bitches talk, these women you out here, these young girls talk, they know who you are. So there's a target on your back. Believe it or not, there's a target on your back. They see that you have potential. And jealousy, envy, hate, green-eyed monster, that's a real thing. And that's why I'm telling you, I'm keeping my kids in situations where people are affluent or where people have things in which they have morals and values. So let me say that. It's not just affluent, but we all know poverty is connected to violence. We all know that. It's a correlation between being impoverished, unfortunately, and it's a correlation in poverty. Being poverty and violence are correlated, unfortunately. But I want people to have morals, things to lose, a future, something to look forward to, something that inspires them to want to get up and be a quality individual and a productive citizen. I don't want my kids around motherfuckers drinking lean in high school, smoking blunts in high school, backwood blunts, out here trying to have kids in high school, out here gang banging in high school. I don't want my kids around people like that. A lot of the Black community, a lot of things that we celebrate is a lot of times the things that cause our own demise. I don't want my kids around insufferable idiots that are lost. That's just me. That's just me. That's just how I'm going to maneuver things with my children. My children will not, in my opinion, at 18, I'm definitely going to try to relegate them to being in a situation and an environment where it's productive and safe. I'm not going to tell I'm going to be the party pooper. I'm going to tell them don't go to these parties. That's just going to be how I motivate and how I operate with my kids. And I'm going to tell them that people don't have your best interests at heart. Skin folk are not always kinfolk. These people are haters. A lot of folks in the Black community is held back tremendously by the crab in the bucket mentality. I'm going to tell them, you think these people don't know you. That just like me. I'm going to use me as an example, man, because I was a pretty good football player in my day, man. You can Google me. I went to HBCU, won a state championship in high school. I was a pretty good inside linebacker, man. I ain't going to lie to you. You can Google me. My name is Calvin Healy. I played FCS football at North Carolina Central University. And just from my hometown, you would be surprised how many people I don't even know. Because like I said, I was known for football, known for being a hard hitter. Like I said, I was one of the people that made it out of there and to play college football out of all the people. It wasn't a lot of people that went to play college football during my time. So you'd be surprised how many people know you that you don't even know them. From these people, these places that these, especially someone of his status, a 3-4 star prospect, already at Ole Miss, already productive. You'd be surprised at the people that know all your business, but they ain't have a conversation with you. They gossiping about you, talking shit about you, probably see you starting online and they don't like you. You know what I'm saying? Don't even know you. The only reason that they don't like you is because you're productive. That's it. And they envy the status and the situation in which you are in. So you are out here thinking, oh, I'm just a normal guy going to a party, want to, find some girls, hang out, want to be normal. If somebody say something to you, I want to puff my chest out and say, fuck you back. I don't want to be punked. That's how these guys think, I'm normal. I'm a big old guy, whatever. Like, I'm not, somebody says something disrespectful. You're not just going to be a little, in your mind, like, I'm not going to get bitched. I'm not going to be a little hoe. I'm going to talk back. I'm going to fucking swell up and say, fuck you, and defend myself. And that disrespect right there, because when from someone who has nothing, with someone who perceives themselves to have little to nothing, grinding from the hood, ghetto, whatever that mindset may be, and they see you and their perception is you have everything. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that. Someone who's looking at you from a mindset of, man, I had to grind from the ghetto. I never had nothing. I had it harder than you. All this victim mentality mindset. A person with a victim mentality mindset, when they're looking at you with all your success, all your high school success, all your college success that's about to build in progress where you're going toward, man, that green-eyed monster hits them so hard, man. I'm telling you, man. You think people don't know you. They know you. They know it, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people in the Black community, they chatty patties, they know you, man. They know what you're doing. They're watching your Instagram. They're watching your online situation. They know what's going on, man. You know what I'm saying? They trust and believe that. Trust and believe that. They know what's going on with you, man. And they're watching with an envious eye. And I feel like that's just my opinion. I feel like this is just not coincidental. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in my opinion, like, that puts a battery in their back to where they hate you. If you're in here trying to act hood and they really out here in their minds really living a hood life, they don't like you and they know they have no future. So they want to end yours. And that's what I feel like happened in this situation. Like, a little amount of disrespect, especially from you, a person that in their eyes has everything. You're a Division I football player, you this, that, and the third. They're like, you a little prep boy. Like, I'm the one that's gun-toting. I'm the one that thinks I'm just a badass. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna allow you to disrespect me. And that's how it goes in the Black community. So if you, like I said, if you have anything to lose in the Black community, I would advise you wholeheartedly, stay away from people that have nothing to lose. I'll repeat that one more time. If you are a person that has something to lose in the Black community, I would advise you to stay away from those who have nothing to lose. Just a little word of advice, man. Man, pause this bullshit. Ain't no goddamn Club Shay Shay. Fuck out of here with Club Shay Shay. Club gay bitch ass nigga. Fuck that nigga. I don't fuck with no Club Shay Shay, no nightcap. We about to get on his bitch ass too in a little bit, man. That motherfucker. Boy, you made a thought rich, man. That's next. That's the next live stream. About to do it a little bit, man. I already got the thumbnail ready and popping, man. I just had to do my little due diligence with this situation with this young man. Lost his life, man, over some hating ass shit. But yeah, man, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Subscribe to TNP, man. Show some love. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get into this, man. TNP style, man. The only way you know how, man. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Hit that like button for your tap out of here. Hit that subscribe button for your boy. But yeah, man, we gotta talk about Club Shay Shay next, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Travis Hunter's girlfriend out here, man, crying online, being a victim, man. We gotta understand what's going on in this world, boy. A lot of people are very, very much so lost, man. So let's get to it, man. TNP, hit that like button. About to get up out of here, man. In this stream. Appreciate y'all tapping in with your boy Big Cal, man. Let me see something real fast. Fucking, oh no, can't do that. All right, man, we out.